The All Blacks have a legacy of discovering greatness in the most unexpected places, but sometimes even they miss what's right in front of them, and right now they're overlooking someone who might just be the most dynamic player in Super Rugby Pacific, Tamati Tavatavanawai, a wrecking ball in open play, a leader in the locker room, and a game changer in every sense of the word, yet somehow the black jersey still hasn't found its way to his shoulders. Why? Tamati's story doesn't begin in the spotlight. It begins in Asori, Fiji, a small town where talent isn't handed opportunities, it has to fight for them. He shined early, earning a spot in the Fiji U20s, showing explosive power and raw potential. But instead of climbing the ranks through the Pacific Island system like so many before him, Tamati made a decision that would change his life. He left. He packed up everything and moved to New Zealand, starting from scratch. No scholarships, no fame, just determination. He didn't enter the scene through a big academy. He started at the Central Rugby Club in Marlborough, a grassroots team where every hit counts and nothing is guaranteed. That's where Tasman Mako spotted him. In 2021, they brought him into their Bunnings NPC squad. From his very first match, it was clear this wasn't your average winger. His balance, speed, and brutal strength in contact turned heads instantly. He wasn't just fast, he was devastating. That breakout led to a Super Rugby contract with Moana Pasifika in 2022. The team was new, their structure unstable, but Tamati stood out in the chaos. While others crumbled under pressure, he hunted down every ruck, charged every line, and made every contest count. In a team still trying to find its identity, he became their identity. The relentless workhorse who played like every minute mattered. He didn't just make the highlight reel, he was the highlight reel. By 2024, the Highlanders made their move, and it changed everything. Tamati didn't just join the team, he owned it. He played 13 consecutive matches, logging over 1,000 minutes in one of the world's most physical leagues. But it was his defensive impact that sent shockwaves. He led Super Rugby Pacific in jackal turnovers, a stat usually dominated by flankers and back row bruisers. But Tamati? He did it as a wing. That's not just rare, it's unheard of. By season's end, the numbers spoke for themselves, but so did the fans. He swept 4 major team awards: MVP, Back of the Year, Defender of the Year, and Fan Favorite. Not 1, not 2, 4. He'd outperformed expectations at every level, and yet, the All Black selectors didn't call. No camp invite, no extended squad, just silence. And that silence started to sound a lot like a snub. In 2025, the Highlanders doubled down on their faith in Tamati. Coach Jamie Joseph named him co-captain alongside Hugh Renton. It was a powerful message. But then came another twist. Injuries forced him to move from the wing to inside center. And once again, he delivered. No complaints, no dip in form, just the same brutal carries, ironclad defense, and unmatched energy. That kind of positional flexibility isn't just helpful, it's gold at international level. The silence from the All Blacks grew louder. Fans demanded answers. Former All Black Justin Marshall went public. What more does this guy need to do? Tamati had New Zealand residency, had performed for years at a high level, and now carried leadership credentials. Still nothing. Meanwhile, less proven players were being fast-tracked to the top. It wasn't just frustrating, it felt deliberate. Post-World Cup, the All Blacks announced a new vision: rebuild the team with speed, versatility, and youth. Tamati fits all three. He can play across the back line. He can win turnovers like a flanker. He doesn't just bring impact, he brings balance. But even as he checks every box, the selectors keep skipping his name. So the question becomes, if he's not what they want, what exactly are they looking for? There are players who peak once and plateau, and then there's Tamati Tavatavanawai, a man who seems to climb higher with every challenge thrown at him. If 2024 was the year he shocked the league, 2025 has become his masterpiece. He's no longer just the Highlanders' hammer. He's their compass, their calm in the storm, their spark when the fire fades. As co-captain, Tamati has embraced the pressure, but he hasn't just held steady, he's elevated. His decision-making under pressure has grown sharper. His passing, once solid, is now strategic and piercing. He's not just making meters, he's creating space for others. In one match against the Hurricanes, he made 2 try-saving tackles in the final quarter. Then moments later, he launched a sublime offload that set set up the match winner. That's not luck, that's instinct, and it's the kind of instinct only the best develop. His versatility has also become a tactical weapon. Midway through the season, injuries forced Tamati out of his natural wing position and into the midfield. Many players would have faltered. Different angles, different matchups, different roles. But Tamati, he didn't just survive, he dominated. With the same hunger and contact and the same ironclad defense, he adjusted like a veteran. That's international material. That's exactly the kind of flexibility the All Blacks claim to value. His running meters this season are through the roof. His tackle success rate rivals some of the best defensive backs in the league, and his work rate off the ball is nothing short of elite. But the stats only tell part of the story. What really sets Tamati apart is the energy he brings every second he's on the field. He doesn't take plays off. He doesn't jog in recovery. He drives every moment with intent because he knows he's still fighting to be seen. And fans have seen it. In Dunedin, they've started calling him the Southern Sledgehammer, not just because of the force of his hits, but because of how consistently he breaks open defenses with sheer will. When you watch him play, you're not just seeing a great athlete, you're seeing a force of nature. But even with his strongest season yet, the door to the All Blacks remains closed. Tamati Tavatavanawai's journey reads like something out of a rugby fable. A young Fijian kid who left everything he knew, landed in New Zealand with no shortcuts, and climbed the ranks through pure hard work and raw talent. He didn't have the benefit of a famous surname or a contract with an academy team. What he had was grit, what he had was heart, and what he's earned is respect. But respect alone doesn't write the final chapter. Despite dominating at every domestic level, despite leading his team, despite showing up in every big moment, his name is still missing from the All Black squad sheets. And that's not just a mistake, it's a moment of reckoning. Because Tamati's story isn't just his own, it's symbolic of something deeper. A disconnect between what the All Blacks say they want and who they actually choose. For years, New Zealand has prided itself on being the land where hard work is rewarded, where performance matters more than pedigree. But if Tamati isn't getting selected, then those values start to feel like marketing slogans, not principles. Let's ask the hard question. Is this a blind spot or is it bias? Because we've seen players with far less impact get fast-tracked based on potential. We've seen players coast on reputation. But Tamati, he's done it the long way, the hard way, the deserving way, and still no reward, no recognition, just the cold silence of selectors unwilling to look outside their usual favorites. This was supposed to be the kind of story rugby loves to tell, a humble warrior rising to the top, but instead, it's become a cautionary tale, a warning that even in a merit-based system, there are still gatekeepers who can slam the door shut no matter how loud you knock. Let's strip this down to what really matters. This isn't about sympathy. This isn't about politics. This isn't about ticking boxes or feel-good stories. This is about performance, about leadership, about winning. And Tamati Tavatavanawai checks every box, twice. He's led from the front. He's redefined what a power back can be. He's added value at every position he's been put in. And more than anything, he's shown the kind of resilience and hunger that the black jersey was built on. So what are we doing? If the All Blacks are serious about rebuilding, about rewarding form, about honoring the very values that made them legendary, then the time is now. This isn't a question of if Tamati is ready. He's been ready. The question is whether New Zealand rugby is bold enough to see past their habits and embrace what's right in front of them. If Tamati's name doesn't appear in the next All Black squad, it won't just be a snub. It'll be a statement that grit, loyalty, and hard-earned excellence aren't enough anymore. And if that's the message we're sending, then we've lost more than a player. We've lost the heart of what makes this sport great. So open the door, because Tamati Tavatavanawai isn't knocking anymore. He's earned the right to walk in.